So when I press this little on button on the remote control, it does this. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I just took a $25 bus from Miami to Orlando in this jet set bus terminal. And I'm here in Orlando, Florida for a very, very exciting reason. I grew up in South Florida, so I've been coming to Orlando my whole life. I know this place pretty well. I'm gonna be staying with a friend because tomorrow I'm potentially going to be making a very dumb financial decision, but one that's very exciting. All right, friends, exciting day. I got the Jurassic Park hat on. I have got in contact with a man who lives a little bit north of Orlando, who is selling a Jurassic Park Jeep. And supposedly the condition is good beyond some surface rust. The frame is supposedly very clean. Anyways, without rambling too much about it, it looks like it's gonna be a perfect car for what I'm looking to do with it. So we're driving up right now. It's about a 45-minute drive. Hopefully when we arrive, this is the car. Wow. Look at that Jeep, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I'm driving Jurassic Park 18 JP Jeep right now, fully automatic with power steering, which the power steering is kind of suggestible right now. It's got some smells, it's got some funky sounds, but it seems like she might be able to be fixed up and used. I don't know. I don't think she's as bad as I think she might be, but we'll see. I'm gonna keep test driving this one around and we'll see what it's like. Next morning now, Jack has driven me over to this amazing mechanic that he found not too long ago. Thank you so much, Jack. I really appreciate it. His store is called Autotech of Orlando.
Oh, actually, hold on. I needed to like take off the
nice merch, baby. What are you wearing over here?
Yo, buy some merch.
That's a supportive friend. The Jeep's got a lot of problems. She's got a leak in the transmission. You know, there's a leak here in the brakes, which is making the brakes not as responsive. I mean, there's tons of stuff. It's an old car. It's a 30-year-old car. We're fixing most of the important things that I can fix right now to get me to Miami, because I'm staying at Jack's house here in Orlando and I want to go back home and work on this car slowly. He gave us a really good offer compared to the store we were at yesterday, the shop we were at yesterday. And he's going to fix a lot of great things. And I got my quote. It's going to be 2 days in the shop now. So hopefully in 2 days we come back and it's working a little bit better. All right, another whole day has passed, my friends, and I have been able to get myself a license plate from the state of Florida. This was a mission and very expensive. I got registration, I got a title, everything set up for the car to go. So I'm actually going to go back to Chris to the garage in Longwood, put on the plate and check the progress of the car, because it's been a whole day. We haven't heard anything, so I'm just curious to see where the car is standing, because technically it should be done tomorrow. So hopefully the car is ready to go back to Miami tomorrow. Hey guys, so Chris is a very busy guy, and I mean, I walked in there, the garage, he's literally, his face is full of, you know, dirt and scum from working all day. He was nice enough to even help me in the middle of his busy work day now attach a license plate to it, just so to make sure everything's cleaned up and legal and everything's good. So we're gonna check back in tomorrow. Saw the Jeep, she looks nice. Let's see what happens next. She's up on the lift again. We got Chris working on her.
It's kind of cool that I still have it up in the air for you.
Yeah.
There's jokes out there among mechanics that like you just can't use it. You can even use it as a starting fluid, but you can't use it to wash the dishes.
Jack, my friend.
Hey, we did it.
We did it. Guys, this could not have been possible without my friend Jack. He hosted me for the last 5 days I was in Orlando. He came with me for the car, everything.
It was a good time though.
It was a fun time.
It was running.
She's running. Chris was saying she's smoking a little bit right now from the transmission because he just switched all the fluids. Obviously, she's still got this little bit of engine smoke, which is a bit of an issue. But he's saying that over time, this should dissipate and start getting better as it's running more frequently. If not, there's a potential here that we're going to rebuild the engine from the ground up. But as you can see, she's running pretty good. We got the new belt on there. All the liquids in here have been flushed. All the fluids in here have been flushed. And she's ready to go. She's ready for her drive down to Miami. So let's hit the road, Jack. So I just stopped here somewhere in between Miami and Orlando to get a little Subway sandwich because I was hungry on the drive down, because it is a long drive down, especially when this car is so slow. But look how cool this car looks, just sitting in the parking lot of a Subway. It looks ridiculous in the coolest possible way. I'm in love. I am in love with this vehicle. Well, challenge number one. I'm in a pretty major storm. It's like non-stop raining. I'm seeing all the leaks developing here. It's becoming increasingly hard to drive and hard to see. I'm starting to get soaked because everything is exposed here. So this is a fun way to do a 3.5-hour drive in the middle of a storm. It's great times out here in the Jurassic Park Jeep. Oh my God, this is not normal. I feel like I'm in a typhoon again. What in the world is going on? This is like a severe rainstorm. I do not feel safe in this car right now. Like, this is not ideal at all. I'm actually kind of freaking out. I'm trying to get to that little intersection so I can at least stop off and wait for this to clear up a bit, because this is insanity. It feels so unsafe. I love this car! So after all of that adventuring, I'd like to officially introduce you to my 1993 Jeep YJ, also known as the Jurassic Park Jeep. So here she is, Dino fam. This is her. I haven't given her a name properly yet, but she's been in my possession for the last 3 months, and it's been an absolute pain in the butt. This Jeep, which I learned you're not allowed to refer to as a car, make it a real pain in the ass to use, especially as a daily driver, which is what I got it for. So as you guys saw, for me, just the process of buying this car was a really difficult experience with that storm that we hit, sitting with it in the mechanic for days on end, trying to figure out if it would make it down to Miami. But that being said, it is now officially the only Jurassic Park Jeep that I know in the South Florida area, besides one other guy who's really cool, who's from part of the Jurassic Park Moto Pool, who lives in West Palm Beach. But other than that, I'm definitely the only Jurassic Park Jeep in the Miami area and Broward County area that I know of. It definitely provides like looks and stuff when you're driving on the street. People get excited. Also, mine has a really cool feature. When I press this little on button on the remote control, that wasn't supposed to happen. All right, let's try that again. So when I press this little on button on the remote control, it does this. Now, of course, the audio quality isn't that great because it's coming from a pretty small beat-up speaker that's been sitting in the hood of this car for the last who knows how many years. Also, I should establish this point right now, which is a really, really cool fact about this car. It has been a Jurassic Park Jeep since 1999, making it one of the first fan recreations of the iconic movie vehicle. That also means that it's not the most accurate, but it's super, super cool nonetheless. It does look like a Jurassic Park Jeep. People do recognize it for what it is. So I'm going to give you guys a tour on the inside. We'll also take a look under the hood to show you guys exactly what's going on under this vehicle. All right, let's begin with an exterior view. So you can see this is a 1993 Jeep YJ. This is not the Sahara version. That is the one that the actual Jurassic Park Jeep was based off of. But this one is the sport version, I believe. It's got those rectangular headlights, which are very popular in the YJ series. We've got a semi-accurate color scheme. The actual vinyl stickers held up so nicely. I'd say Jurassic Park, actually, like incredibly. Got beautiful red rims on the tires. A tan-colored roof cover. We've got an original BF Goodrich tire here, which is the one that was screen used, but this one is full of tire rot and very dead. Not usable anymore. We've got the other side of the vehicle. There she is. So that's an exterior view for you guys. Let's show you guys what's going on under the hood. Now, I want to make it a point right now that I am not a car guy by any means. So please don't judge me too harshly for not knowing the exact parts and mechanics of this car, because everything that I've learned from this vehicle has come from this vehicle. The little bit of knowledge that I do have on fixing up a vehicle comes from me owning a tuk-tuk in the Philippines That's a very different machine from this Jeep YJ, but in a lot of ways it's very similar because a lot of the manual work is pretty easy to work on, and identifying problems is pretty easily, especially with the amount of community posts that you can make online to get advice from people online. But let's take a look under the hood. So here's your little look-see under the hood of what's going on. We've got a pretty old beat-up battery, but she still works. This is the little voice box that actually controls, it's like a little transmitter radio, and it controls this little horn, which plays the music when I press the button. We've got our jack. We've got a little fuse box here. We've got a new radiator that I installed because my radiator exploded on me, which was not a fun experience. I've never had a radiator bust on me before, and it was actually kind of terrifying. The thing exploded with a bunch of red, rusty mud and goop and radiator fluid in the front of a Dunkin' Donuts. It was embarrassing. It was my first couple days with the vehicle. Very, very unpredictable. Yeah, but I've replaced these radiator pipes. I've replaced the serpentine belt around the engine. We've got obviously the engine, which needs some work because this car smokes. She smokes pretty bad, actually, especially when she's running for a long time in hot heat. She smokes pretty bad. I'm missing caps here on these two fluid compartments. One of them is washer fluid. One of them is coolant. Air filter inside of here, I've actually replaced the air filter. This is the brake mechanism, I think, and it's been tweaked, but still is a little bit leaky. Not perfect. Definitely doesn't work perfect. And obviously, we've got the transmission fluid compartment here and the oil compartment. I do have a problem with my transmission. Actually, a little while ago, it kind of busted up completely, and I had it repaired as a sort of temporary fix because I'm not trying to invest thousands of dollars into the car right now. This is a project for me to work on in the future. This is my dream car. Finally saving the money to buy it. Now that I have it, because these prices on these YJs are going up like crazy, I want to slowly fix it up over time and understand the actual vehicle that I own. So I do have a problematic transmission here. Can't really sit into park perfectly. You have to start it on neutral, and it is an automatic, which I'll talk about a little bit later. As well, second gear is a little bit rough to get into, and then third and fourth gear run like butter. So here is the interior of the Jeep. We got a lot to talk about in here, so let's cover it. So inside the interior, it is very hot. Very, very hot in this Florida sun. Driving in here in the cockpit and looking out the windshield when you're driving is just so much fun. She's a little rough on the interior as well. We don't have our original Sahara or Jeep YJ seats in here. I do actually have them in my house. The owner of this vehicle actually gave them to me for free with the purchase of the car, which they're pretty valuable as well. Also, my canvas roof, it is completely destroyed. There's holes all over it, so anytime it rains, we just had a mini tropical storm here in Florida a couple days ago. It was pretty bad. The whole vehicle got wet. Yeah, I realized I lost my speedometer during that storm. It was working before, and now it's not working anymore because I live in a place where I can't actually cover the Jeep fully, and I haven't gotten the Jeep cover yet. I should have. I just ordered one on Amazon today. That being said, though, the windshield itself is not in any bad shape or anything like that. It's got no cracks, no breakage in the glass. My mirror is okay, just a little bit small. Actually, my electronics do work on here, so I've got full. You won't really be able to see that well during the day, but got full control of the lights. Actually, all the lights work in here, and that's controlled by this little button over here. Lights on right there. You can actually move this whole wheel steering column. You can adjust it, which I heard is actually a pretty sought after feature in the YJ, which is not very common from what I've understood. Our full working wipers, the wipers work for a 30-year-old vehicle. That's pretty impressive. The back seat is made up of a bench and a Jurassic Park hat, hard hat that came with the vehicle. I tried to clean up as much as I could back here. I also ended up buying a fire extinguisher, which was recommended by my mechanic. As well, it came with a can of Barbasol, which is always cool. I actually purchased a little baby T-Rex to put inside of this vehicle. So this is the interior. Again, this Jeep comes with power steering and it's automatic. So usually here you'd have the shifter. Over here I just have the four-wheel drive, which I've actually never attempted to use. And I was recommended by many people that if I don't intend on fixing it up, don't even try to put it into 4x4 because it might just break the entire car. There are some custom art pieces that are on this thing, like these Jurassic Park 3 style scratches. But you do have another scratch mark right here, as you can see. Wasn't able to get those off without destroying the exterior paint, but I can't really say much to that because the exterior paint is pretty destroyed as is. It's been taking a lot of sun the last few months here in Florida. So I do definitely have to put this guy in storage soon. As well, we've got some pretty gnarly rust spots on the body. And we've got another one over here. But one of the main reasons that I bought this Jurassic Park Jeep, because I test drove around 20 or 30 Jeep YJs while I was down here in South Florida, getting prepared to buy this car. I decided to go with this one because of the frame. Because this one has been in South Florida for the last 20 plus years, it hasn't accumulated much or any rust on the frame whatsoever. Now, when purchasing an old Jeep like this, one of the most important things I was told by many mechanic friends of mine and mechanics that I interacted with in body shops told me to make sure that the frame of the car is in good shape, because if the frame is rusted over, and what happens is a lot of times these Jeeps that have been in states that have snow and throw salt on the ground to melt the snow, they end up rusting like crazy from the bottom. And this one, luckily for me, because it's been in South Florida, we don't get any snow here, we've got a pretty impeccable frame. It does have some rust, especially back here on the left. It's got some nasty spots of rust, but overall, for a 30-year-old vehicle, it is in pretty tip-top shape. And that's one of the main reasons that I chose this one. I paid a little bit extra for it because, one, obviously it had all the custom Jurassic Park designs already done to it, and it's close enough to a restoration for me, but I'm not on a time crunch to fix it up right now before it crumbles apart. This frame is going to last a very, very long time because the rust is not in bad shape, and especially if I do a little bit of work to it, fixing it up a tad bit before I let it sit for a while, the frame should remain in pretty impeccable shape. As you can see, that frame is nice and clean. A little bit of rust spots here, but nothing crazy, nothing bad at all. The main problem with this YJ is the mechanical issues. It's the engine and the transmission. They need some work, they need some love, and of course, the electronics on the inside. Going to need some work. I assume for myself, I've got at least about $10,000 to $15,000 that I need to pour back into this car to make it a proper working, accurate vehicle. Maybe even a little bit extra. That could be a modest estimate. But that being said, it's going to be a project car I'm going to work on over time. Just owning this, my dream car, is the biggest accomplishment for me. A lot of YouTubers, they aspire to own Teslas or Lamborghinis or Ferraris. Those are, cars that sometimes reach the hundreds of thousands of dollars mark. And for me, this is the biggest accomplishment. This has been my dream car since I've been a kid, owning a Jeep Wrangler, which I never owned. And then owning one that is a Jurassic Park restoration is the biggest accomplishment. So it's going to need some work. It's going to need some work to get it to where I want it to be. And who knows with the mods that come out in the future. There's talks about custom conversion kits, which make this an electric vehicle. I mean, there's tons of different options. But, I've been doing YouTube for the last 8 years. As a full-time job, I've been doing it for about 5 to 6 years. And saving up enough money to the point where I could afford something like this and own it now. It's in my name. I have it. It's the biggest accomplishment. And I don't see myself ever letting go of this vehicle unless someone threw me a crazy offer. So I think in honor of that, let's give it a little drive and show you guys how she starts. Only be doing it justice if I can get my Jurassic Park hard hat on. I have Dennis Nedry's shirt, but I definitely need his raincoat. That would make more sense for this Jeep. So again, when I drive this thing, I've got to put it on a parking brake when I'm parking it because... Okay, let's release the parking brake. Because again, I don't have my parking gear anymore. It doesn't work. And while it's sitting in park, I can actually just move it freely around the different gears. So right now I'm moving it to reverse, neutral, and I have to start the puppy in neutral because she doesn't start in park anymore. So here she comes. Not the smoothest start in the world, but she starts. Again, for a 30-year-old vehicle with minimal work on the engine, transmission, all that jazz, it's pretty good. Now, when I put her into any gear, this is going to be reverse. She hops around quite a bit. So this is drive. That's quite a bit of a push forward and back. And let's take a little spin. Here we go. We are currently driving a 30-year-old Jurassic Park Jeep. That's pretty freaking exciting. So this is all going to be in first gear. And unfortunately, because I lost my speedometer, I can't really see how fast I'm going, so I'm not really comfortable going super fast, especially when I know the transmission's a bit shoddy. This is just for you guys to hear sort of how she runs. Her idle speed, too, is around 15 to 20 miles an hour, which is really fast. And I haven't figured out the way to tweak it yet. But again, what makes this, to me, a really valuable car and why I saw and also an investment opportunity in this vehicle, besides just loving it, is because it's an automatic with power steering. For these Jeep YJs, most of them came in manual without power steering. And that makes it a very, very, very difficult car for a beginner who doesn't know how to drive an old car like this. It makes it a pretty difficult task. So owning something like this, that is with power steering and with automatic transmission, for me, being a millennial, not somebody who grew up with cars, this car is older than me, I see a real investment opportunity in it because I see the value of a Jurassic Park fan who grew up in Jurassic World, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, Jurassic World Dominion, growing up and wanting to own a vehicle like this and not knowing how to drive a manual vehicle, just being able to have one like this to rent it out to people or to let people experience this car. I think for me, this Jeep to me is a vehicle that puts a smile on people's faces, that makes people's days happy. When I see it, when I drive it, when I park it in the public, I see people, how they react to the vehicle. And it's the coolest thing ever because it brings in memories for a lot of people. It brings in memories of their childhood. It's an honor to own this thing. And it's something I'm never going to get tired of, I think. And that, my friends, is my Jurassic Park Jeep. Make sure that you subscribe and turn on those notifications for the Dinosaur channel if you want to become a member. We would really appreciate it, so you can get exclusive icons and emojis that you can use when interacting with us on this YouTube channel. And of course, we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.